Hey Ox, I want to talk to you about a new tech tool, one of my favorites. I know I've been talking to you about this tool for a while. I really like it for ELA, but I think it's also a great tool to use across the board with all of our curriculum. And I know as creative as you are, you can come up with new ways to use our technology. And the best thing about Storybird is it fits in quite nicely into Schoology. So I knew you would like that. So, what is Storybird? It is an online book creator, super easy to use. It has a immense selection of artwork, and what it does is it comes in a format of either a long form or a storybook form, and it's already pre-formatted. So the students just kind of choose which format they want, and then after they've done that, they've got this immense selection of artworks depending on what they want to select from and integrate into their own learning and into their own creations. And I like how because it's such a wide selection, man, is that a higher level, higher order thinking skill or what? Um, what I like about Storybird is it does offer this ability to create their own learning and reflect their own learning by giving them lots of choices. Teachers, you can create a rubric that guides the students. You determine using your philosophy, your pedagogy. What do you want how do you want your students to show what they've learned? What kind of product are you going to look for? You can determine, are they going to be in teams of book creators? Are they going to be individually performing? How are they going to be using this tech tool? If the tool is yours to use, and it can be used across the board. When we talk about the SAMR model, when we talk about the philosophy of how we integrate technology, is it going to transform the information and transform the student? Or is it going to be just an enhancement? Is it going to just kind of scaffold their learning? You determine how you want to use Storybird. Um, I like how Storybird can be used to really redefine the learning task. You determine what you want to see, and you can build your rubric along with your class. I like how Storybird can even be used itself as a teach piece, as an enhancement to learning. Um, Another great thing about Storybird is that by creating differentiated rubrics, you determine what you want from our students. Do you want one or two facts? Do you want up to 10 facts? You determine what is it that you want to see. Do you want them to develop an anticipation guide for a new subject? Or do you want to use Storybird as an anticipation guide? Do you want your Storybird to be a summative assessment of a unit, a chapter, or oh my gosh, what about a team of students collaborating and creating a Storybird of a novel? I'm thinking Forged by Fire. Here are some examples of a rubric, both fiction and nonfiction, science or math. The reason why we're really talking about this tech tool is because it has a focus on writing. What's our lowest area from last year on our star scores? Yep, you guessed it. Less than 70%, less than 50% of our seventh grade students met grade level standards. You can see that our writing scores are 45% were at approaches grade level standard or above out of 313 students. So while our other subjects, science and math and social studies, are slightly higher, writing is our area of focus for this year. I love this diagram showing the writing process. it is cyclical and it can go back and forth. And as our students are reading and writing, because those are codependent processes and they work together to help. The more you read, the more you write, the more you write, the more you read. So our students can really go through, and you as a content area teacher can really show them how science has changed in social studies, and the concepts are always constantly changing as we learn more. I attached the most important TEKs that we need to be working on as a school, differentiating a course between active and passive voice, man, developing a topic sentence, summarizing findings, using evidence to support conclusions. Wow, we definitely need to work on those in developing writing. So, as a team of teachers, we can really double down on not only integrating and really working with our content, but helping our students reflect on their learning through the writing process and understanding the writing TEKs. As a team, as a content team, as a grade level team, you can establish what goals you want to look for in your students' writing skills. Not just in ELA, writing happens everywhere, as you know. Yes, we're still working with our seventh graders on understanding when to capitalize words, proper nouns, words that are the first word in every sentence has to be capitalized. Yes, in seventh grade, we're still working on this. Using active writing voice when they write, rather than I did or I had. Writing an imaginative story that uses sensory language, using a range of literary devices. You determine what you want to look at. Um, these were some TEKs from Math and Science that I thought would be great to see some storybooks that addressed. How about representing real world problems involving ratios and rates, using scale factors, tables, graphs, and proportions? I love this one, comparing interest rate and loan affect the cost. Wow, you could write a ton on that. For our science kiddos, how about writing about force, motion, and energy? Really developing their understanding and having them reflect and produce a product on their understanding of potential and kinetic energy. I've attached some of the math and science uh, storybirds here. I love this one. It is A is for astronomy. It's an alphabet book of science. It's great. Another one that was specific to science was science rules for the classroom. Some storybirds that could really be used as a do now for your writing piece is this great picture that Storybird publishes weekly issues a challenge for writing. This one is called Rags to Riches. And I can see about 40 or 50 of our boys writing about this. A kid who hates sports finds a magical jersey that gives him amazing athletic. And then, of course, you know, I love my zombies and my vampires. How about the story of Homeroom overcoming the monster? A kid has to defeat her homeroom teacher after discovering that she's a vampire. Teachers and students can choose and select their the perfect artwork to support their writing. You as the teacher can establish what or you can allow your students to determine what art they want to start with. Um, I attached some great ones for writing TEKs on writing short poems and stories. And this one is a description, it's a nonfiction description of a kingfisher. And just for time's sake, I'm not going through all of these now, but you'll have these to reflect on and to use as a reference. You as a teacher can very quickly establish, create your classes of students, and you can have the students put in their email so they can work from home. You can, as a teacher, speaking of home, you can issue challenges where they can work on pairs at home. and you can work with them alongside them as they're building their writing skills. Um, Another great thing about Storybird is not only have schools um, shown that with consistent use and across the board use, that students and schools that have used Storybird over a year's time, their writing has grown as much as 3 years growth. So that is our goal for our campus, and it should be a goal for everybody in this building. And so when you want to think of a tool that will help us do this, this is one of the best ones. I like how within Storybird there are videos that are embedded that discuss the writing process from draft through publishing. Great ways to help ideas for students building their own reading fluency, writing skills regarding summarizing and visualizing, using context clues. Great stuff. And here is my science Storybird. All right. Here is the search for the atom in the nucleus. And it is, you can see my cover of my book. And the art, you can see the artwork is already there. And I've gone in after I've selected my artwork. I've given my title and I start my story. And you can see we're in search of a ionized atoms, and we know that we need to find an atom that has one nucleus and one or more electrons, and we know that we want one with the same number of protons. And you can see that there's some propelling and some adverse effects going on there. It's moving away. And so there's some things happening with protons and electrons. And now you can see the mood has changed. And now I've been grabbed by a strong magnetic force, an electromagnetic force. And what has happened is I am now under nuclear decay. And because of this, I'm going to go through a nuclear transmutation. This makes me not happy. Here's one of a picture that I've selected that talks about how my ability to associate and disassociate was responsible for a physical change. And you can see, I'm floating above the clouds now. I am now a chemical element with the atomic number of 2, which is an inert gas, and it's part of the noble gas series. And it ends with I watch over the other elements and wait for Dr. Fission to find me and divide me. And as part of my rubric, I attached my vocabulary that I use within my story to reflect my learning. So again, the artwork is there, and you and your students or you can determine how you want to use this. Is this my summative assessment of my understanding of what happens when elements undergo a nuclear decay as a result of nuclear division? What do you think? Pretty cool, huh? Thanks for learning about Storybird.